Hello everybody, I want to welcome you here to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So we're here on Friday night. It's time for another episode of Ranking the Albums, brought to you by Ben and myself. So Ben is a subscriber of mine who does this every week. He picks 4 albums and he sends them to me via email, and then I listen to the 4 albums and rank them according to how I like them. So what we're going to do is that we decided I was going to do 16-parter, but I think it's a little bit long. I thought about it for a bit. After I announced it, I thought about it for a bit and decided we'll go to the 8. So we're going to do 8 episodes, then we'll do 2 semis. Yeah, I think it'll be 2 semis and 1 finals. So what we're going to have is, with this episode, whatever the album I rank number 1 will go on to the semifinals, and then when we get, because we're doing 8 episodes, we'll have two 4-album episodes, and then the 2 winners will go on to face each other in the finals. And then we're going to do, after that, we're going to do a different show. We've got another idea that we want to try out for a bit. And we may come back to doing this. If people liked it enough, we may come back and do another series of these. So the 4 albums he's chosen for me today are Kansas Audio Visions from 1980, Geordie Save the World, which is Brian Johnson's original band, singer for AC/DC. That's from 1976. Tangerine Dream, which the album is Force Majeure, which is a band that has done a lot of movie soundtracks and stuff. They're very symphonic. They're a very symphonic prog band. Actually, I kind of think of Tangerine Dream as my meditation band. They'd be okay in that new age era, right? So I do like to listen to these. This is a band that's great with headphones. Very relaxing music, but intricate, so that's the 3rd band. And then the 4th band is Electric Light Orchestra, and the album is called Face the Music from 1975. Okay, so there's your 4 contestants. I've listened to all 4 albums through and through and decided on the ranking of them. So this is one of the closest battles that we've had of the ones we've done so far. All 4 bands were all relatively close to each other. There wasn't very much separating the top one from the bottom one. I did like all of them. I didn't love all of them. I don't think I loved any of them, to be honest with you. I don't think I did, but I did like all of them. Just want to see what I did. Yeah, I did like them all, and I didn't love all of them. So anyway, how I'm going to do this is the way I always do it, which is I'm going to give you my least favorite all the way up to my most favorite, or my worst to first, if you prefer. And I want to make sure that I'm clear that I don't dislike any of these albums, because sometimes people say, how can you put them 4th? Well, somebody's got to go 4th, and if you like all 4 albums, somebody has to be number 4. It's just the way it is. There's no way around it. And of course, a lot of these things are personal preferences, or they may have come out at a time when they kind of had a little bit of a different impact on me, or maybe they just haven't had an impact on me at all because I haven't heard them before. There's always that. I can't give a band a number 1 spot that if it's the first time out, and the other ones I've known. It just doesn't make any sense to do that. So anyways, we'll start by going with number 4. So number 4 for me is not going to be a big surprise to anybody who knows me. Kansas will come in at number 4. I have listened to a fair number of Kansas albums now. I think pretty much all of their original stuff. And they just I want to make it clear, I don't dislike their music. I don't. It just doesn't do anything for me. It's almost like a non-feeling for them. I hear it. I'm able to listen to it and say, that guitar part's really good, or that vocal's really good, or listen to that keyboards, that's excellent, or they really arranged this song quite nicely. But it's all nice and all that, but it just doesn't do anything for me. And I know people will say to me, well, how can you like Styx and not like Kansas? Well, at one time I thought there was some merit to that, but having listened to both of them for a length of time now, they're very different. To me, they're very different. At first, I thought, well, Kansas has got to be just like Styx. They have a lot of the same elements in their music. They're both got some progressive elements. They both have some great instrumental. They have some great keyboards. The vocals are fantastic. And therefore that should transmute into almost identical reactions, but it isn't. It's completely different. I absolutely love everything Styx does, or most of it. With Kansas, I don't really love any of their music, but I again don't. There's a couple of Styx albums I really don't like. There's none of that here with Kansas. I don't dislike any of their albums. I just don't love any of them either. So for me, Kansas is going to come in with their Audio Visions from 1980 as number 4. I think it's a little bit more toned down. It's not as progressive as some of their earlier stuff. It's not as dominated by all kinds of different kind of ideas. I think this is the album, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the album that Carrie Livgren has become kind of a Christian, so there's a little bit more of that element to their music as well. So Kansas number 4. Number 3 was this is really close now. So Kansas was a little bit lower than the other 3. This one was very close. I wasn't quite sure how I wanted to go by this because I like these 3 albums. But I decided ultimately to go with Tangerine Dream in the number 3 spot, Force Majeure. It was a nice listen to. I really enjoyed the keyboard parts to it. I like the kind of symphonic sound to it, the vastness to it, the real kind of quiet meditation almost feeling to this album. And the couple tracks on it I thought were really well put together and orchestrated well. I just think that I think with this group I got to listen to them a lot more, especially individual albums. It kind of makes them grow on. I think they probably will grow on me a little bit, but for today it's going to come in at number 3. So number 2, this kind of surprised me because I thought this band's vocalist would be similar to what I'm used to, and he's a little bit different on this. So we're talking, of course, about Geordie Save the World from 1976. This is a Brian Johnson original band. It's really kind of, it has some of the elements that AC/DC has in it. It's got that kind of party rock kind of feel to it, that kind of, kind of almost sexist feel to it at points in the music as well. But his voice isn't nearly as harsh as I thought it was going to be. It's much clearer. I think he almost took on a gruffer sound to his voice when he became a member of AC/DC. And I don't hear that nearly as much here. And I'm not sure if that's a good or bad thing. The music's pretty solid. I think all the tracks were pretty good. I didn't find anything that stood out that made me really like it a lot. I'm just going to read one note I wrote on him if I can find my glasses here. Here they are. So on this album, it's, like I said, it's kind of a party rock atmosphere to this band. And you know what? I think this, I can see why Bon Scott recommended that he might be a good guy. He liked his vocal parts because there's a lot of stuff here to be said good about it. However, I don't think it's in the same kind of ballpark as AC/DC. So I did like it. It's an album, if I saw it, I would probably get it. But I don't think I probably will. But if I do, I would probably get it. So it's going to come here at number 2, which then, of course, leaves ELO to win this. I wouldn't have said that right at the beginning. Face the Music. When I first saw this album, I thought, okay, so ELO is going to be battling it out for the bottom with probably Kansas, because I have the same kind of feeling about ELO that I have about Kansas. I don't dislike any of their stuff, but I don't really, it's not something I go to. I don't think about it. It's not really memorable for me. It doesn't really touch me in any way. But this particular album, Face the Music, is a bit better than all of their other albums, I think. I like it a little more. I'm more familiar with some of the tracks on it. Of course, it's got Evil Woman on it, and It's Like Magic. I think that's the name of the tune. This is a really strong album for them, I think. Most of the tracks on here are good listening tracks. I don't have any problem with any of the songs. And I believe this came out in 75. If somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But definitely a pretty strong ELO album. Maybe for me the best of their stuff. And so I did like it. I've never been a huge fan of them. I just don't find their music really touches any part of me that really matters. So, but definitely I like this album, so it's gonna win. But it didn't win easily. The second and third place albums, Geordie's Save the World and Tangerine Dream Force Majeure, both strong albums, barely missing out. I would say if you were going to do a level looking, it would be ELO here, then Tangerine Dream slightly below, Geordie slightly below, and Tangerine Dream almost next to it, and then you got the Kansas album that's a little bit lower. So that's my rankings for the album ranking this week. Just to reiterate them: ELO's Face the Music #1, Geordie Save the World #2, Tangerine Dream Force Majeure #3, and Kansas Audio Visions #4. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Next week, Ben will be giving me episode #8, which will be the final one in the first round, and then we're going to do 2 semifinal episodes, and then we'll do a finals. Then we're going to do some other project that we have in mind for a while, and we may come back to this if everybody feels like it's something they would want to, or we decide we want to do it again. I actually enjoyed this quite a bit. Ben is really good at picking out albums that I probably wouldn't go and get myself because I don't think of them when I'm out there. But all of these things are good because they get me listening to some bands that perhaps I wouldn't have. And I've got 2 or 3 out of this tournament so far that I think I want to pursue a little more. A couple of them almost certainly are going to be stuff that I'm going to listen to a lot more of. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please hit the like and subscribe. That's much appreciated. Any comments about any of the 4 albums or anything I've said, you can put in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. And we will see you next Friday for another episode of Ranking the Albums. Take care and have yourself a good night.